Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from Grand Line Review, and today we are checking out 5 people who could have been Pirate King. We're just going to get straight into it. I'm pretty sure Whitebeard's one of them, and then... I don't know, we'll see.
Goldie Roger was the Pirate
Yes, he
King.
was.
Monkey D. Luffy will be the Pirate
He will.
King. Gecko Moria will be, well, nothing, because he's Gecko Moria.
Yes.
Did you know that 5 other people actually had the opportunity to become the Pirate King? For various assorted reasons, they all rejected taking on the title or failed at the final.
Oh no.
But with a few tweaks of fate and a dash of personal motivation, this world could have looked very, very different.
Interesting.
So here are the 5 people who could have become the Pirate King. Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam, and unfortunately, I am not one of the aforementioned 5. In fact, my parents were, I would say, cruel enough not to even put a single D in my name, so that very much sealed my fate then.
Damn it.
And fate similarly has a hand in preventing a further 5 characters from attaining this much
Interesting to see who they
The thing
are.
about becoming the Pirate King is that it's actually a lot easier than people think. Which
Really?
is still ridiculously difficult, but not quite as impossible
difficult as
once thought.
right,
As
okay.
proved by these, again, 5 people who quite literally could have done it pretty much any time. And as for people who have done things, here is Kunal Gupta, Og Kev, and the letter T. All 3 of whom did the amazing thing of subscribing to the Grand Line Review,
What?
which will result in consistent injections
So
of
funny.
culture being administered directly into your YouTube feed. And if you'd like to be hailed as our next subscriber of the day, then all you need to do is hit that regal red button, and please do say hi in the comments below if you are a new member of the Grand Fleet. Welcome, my liege. Alright, let's get one thing out of the way.
He's very
Which is
funny.
that becoming the Pirate King is not necessarily what you think it is. It's what we're working towards through the eyes and, I guess, the various other body parts of Luffy. But in reality, it's a made-up title with extraordinarily vague criteria that serves more as a vehicle for the true goal of the series. Whatever that is, because, well, we still don't actually know. But as such, it is very achievable to become the Pirate King so long as we follow these essential criteria.
Right, let's
1.
go.
Reach Laugh Tale. 2. Tell people that you did number 1. And 3. Be strong enough to retain your kingly title when people inevitably come to take it from you.
Fair
generally
enough.
Via punch fighting. That's it. Wealth, power, all of that more or less comes naturally afterwards. But the most important part is to follow our 3-step plan. So a person who could have become the Pirate King but didn't, number 1, is Whitebeard.
There we go,
This
of course.
man was once described by Doflamingo as the person who chose not to take the throne but instead rule in front of it, very much implying that Whitebeard acted as a kind of guard or caretaker of the title.
Right.
In Lord of the Rings, you would call him a steward. In Star Trek, you would call him the acting captain. And in reality, you would call him completely effing huge because Whitebeard is 666 centimeters tall.
Interesting
also known as the
factoid.
height of the beast. That beast in
Damn.
question probably being a giraffe. But if all it took was height to become the Pirate King, then we'd all be on our hands and knees worshipping San Juan Wolf.
That's
And
true.
Interestingly, it's not necessarily anything Whitebeard could have done himself that would have made him the king. It's that Roger was just essentially willing to throw the title at his finely moustached face.
Yeah, of course.
During their final meeting, Roger outright offered to tell Whitebeard how to get to Laugh Tale, meaning that Whitebeard would have gotten to skip all of the road upon
Yeah, like, God, what a
Take
skip.
casual stroll into the history books as the second person to do the thing, and
Say
therefore
the thing.
become the undisputed King Daddy Pirate Lord. Really, he would have had everything. Wealth,
But who
fame,
else?
power, Laugh Tale, and even the secret knowledges of the world's rather scandalous history.
Has to be
As it
people that
is,
are part of, like,
Whitebeard was
Roger's,
informed of the secret behind the Lord D,
crew,
factor
doesn't
which
it?
certainly played into his fostering of Ace and appreciation for the rather curt communication skills of Luffy. Because when the two met for the first, and I guess only time at Marineford, the conversation went a little something like this. What's your name, little boy? F you, old man. Don't get in my way. But there was a grand total of like 0 things stopping Whitebeard from becoming that there Pirate King. The Marines wouldn't have risked war with an emperor or
No,
from home
definitely
territory.
not.
The other emperors were either incompetent or drunk, and so Whitebeard really is the man who could have had everything. But he rejected the throne because in his heart he already had everything he needed.
A family.
Whitebeard's journey isn't so much a tale of One Piece as it is a story of Sun Piece. Whitebeard's true dream
His
was
family.
always to have a family, and his rise to power is actually quite similar to Charlotte Katakuri in that regard. Whitebeard became the strongest man in the world to protect his family. What Katakuri is to siblings, Whitebeard was to children. And so long as he has his bird son, his rock son, and
Marco.
his big son, then really what more does he need? Well, his fire son and his chef lookalike son would probably be appreciated, but look, what can you do? We can move on, that's what we can do. Because our next prime to be
I'm really interested to see what the next 4 are.
Someone who actually did
Oh,
become
of
king in his own way,
course.
the whole Dark King epithet. And in terms of closest to becoming
Of
the next Pirate
course.
King, Rayleigh was was arguably even closer than Whitebeard.
Yeah.
This dude fought in Admiral wearing thongs, so really there's nothing he couldn't do. Had he so chosen, Rayleigh could have easily inherited the title of his former captain.
Yeah.
He knew where Laugh-Tale was, he possessed world-class power, easily equitable to the majority
His
of
haki is incredible. Yeah, he trained Luffy in the time skip.
Very importantly, he had the right name recognition. Because just imagine Rayleigh walking into the job interview for Pirate King. After a rather vigorous handshake and an exchanging of pleasantries
Yes,
about
I was Roger's right-hand man.
and then peruses the Silver's CV and notices that one of Rayleigh's references is the former Pirate King
Himself, yes.
Old D. Roger. And at that point, you would surely
Yeah,
just hire
jeez,
him
yeah.
right then and there. Under the right circumstances, he also could have inherited the entirety of the Roger Pirates as well.
Whoa.
Vice captains taking over crews is not at all unheard of in One Piece, such as Jinbei taking over the Sun Pirates after the death of Fisher Tiger.
Yeah.
Aladdin taking over after Jinbei was wooed with the seductive charms of a boy with a straw hat. Of course, it never would have happened. Much like Whitebeard, Rayleigh and the rest of the Roger Pirates had no need or want of the Pirate King title or any sense of global prominence whatsoever. They were content understanding their role in history, retreating to the shadows and in some cases retreating inside of their
Rails?
just waiting patiently for the true king to inherit the throne. One way to put it is that while Whitebeard was standing in front of the throne as its noble moustached guard, Rayleigh and his strangely crenellating beard was lurking in the shadows, working their way towards making sure that chosen person found their way onto the right path. Which is noble and nice and stuff, but there are certainly some more, how shall we say, twisted options for Pirate King. And next up is Big Mom and Kaido, who I will specifically address as a tag team.
Right, okay, put them in the same thing. Yeah, they're the Emperors. Makes sense.
Print like 3 Pokemon, put them on the same card, and call them a single thing, then so can I. I
Cool.
want to make this very, very clear. Neither one of them could have become the Pirate King on their own at any stage. But together,
Interesting.
they could have taken it like that. 2 emperors joining forces would have created the single greatest concentration of power that this world has ever seen. The ex-Roger Pirates would not have had the military might to stop them, our throne protector Whitebeard wouldn't have had the physical might to deal with both of them, and the Marines, well, what Marines? Because they would have evaporated like seamen outside on a hot summer's day. I know that imagery it's questionably vivid, but it's completely true. The greatest mistake that Big Mom and Kaido made was wasting 2 whole decades not teaming up, and they chose to do so finally at the worst possible time.
Yes.
Right when someone emerged who was actually capable of stopping them. If at any stage during those 20
They
years
actually just
they
joined
worked
up. My
together,
God, they would have been a force to be reckoned with, yeah.
probably had a little bit of a bang. If they had done all of that at any given point other than right here and now, then they would probably be ruling the world
Definitely.
right here and now. Because between them, they had more or less everything they needed. 2 road poneglyphs right off the bat, a potential mechanism of reading them through pudding, the entire ridiculously important nation of Wano, and generally unparalleled global influence. They would have found the other
Crazy.
2 road poneglyphs
Absolutely
eventually,
would have
if only
just
because
ruled
nobody
everything.
would have been able to stop them. This really is a good lesson in working together. Big Mom and Kaido became so arrogant about their own individual power that they just assumed that they'd naturally be able to ascend to the throne
By
based
themselves.
on that alone. In turn, also commencing a bitter rivalry that did nothing but hinder both of them. And because they waited so long, a bunch of rowdy teenagers had since
We got the new generation.
a dump on the lawns of these emperors and sent them packing to the One Piece villain retirement home. Taking a trip down to Crimson Town right now, the next person who could have become the Pirate King is Shanks. And you might be saying, hey, Mr. Internet Man, you just said that the previous emperors could not have ever become the Pirate King on their own. So why is this emperor any different? And the answer to that, as well as most of life's questions, is nepotism. Shanks was fortunate enough to be a Roger Pirate, and even
Yes.
though he did not set foot on Laugh-Tale, he almost
Yeah, he didn't,
certainly
did he?
knows where it is, because he was on board when all 4 road poneglyphs
They had
were
them.
collected and
Yeah, with Odin,
and
yeah.
even if he didn't know, all he would have had to do is go ask Rayleigh and say, hey, give me the address, and Rayleigh would have been like, sure, because why not? Like
Yeah.
Whitebeard and Rayleigh before him, Shanks is a man essentially blessed with the cheat codes to enable Pirate King mode in the game of fiction.
King mode.
There's even an interesting argument to be made that he may have visited Laugh-Tale at some point, either on his own or with the rest of the Red Hair Pirates. Some of the Red Hair Pirates, maybe not all of them, but some. And just kept quiet about it, because you don't want to make a fuss and ruin all of the prophecies and such. As a child, he did say that eventually he'd make his own way there, and clearly there is something on Laugh-Tale that is extremely relevant to Shanks, given that he cried when Roger told him about the thing from the place. And I apologize for
yeah.
vague language, but sometimes that's
Just how it is, yeah.
Roger found the
One Piece
thing
is very
from
vague
the
at points,
place,
but
told
that's the
Shanks
point, isn't
about
it?
the
Like,
thing
so
at
many
the place,
questions.
Shanks got sad, and that's literally all we know. But whether he's actually set foot on the island or is fairly irrelevant for this discussion, because the fact is that he definitely could have if he so chose to do so, which in the eyes of the world, or at least the various inky headlines of Big News Morgans, would have made Shanks the next Pirate King. Now at this stage you might be asking yourself, who could be left? Because we've now covered all of the original four
who else are you going to say now?
So who else could have possibly become the next Pirate King? Well, there is a surprisingly canonical answer to that is going to rock your socks off if you're wearing socks. And if not,
I am.
I would
I'm scared.
protect your feet. But before examining our final king, we have one honourable mention, which is the biological seed of former Pirate King,
Ace.
Someone who I only add because even though his life was cut tragically short, and also cut in a very circular manner within his chest, Ace had a decent claim to the throne. The pedigree definitely helps.
The
Being
son
the son of Roger makes Ace quite a natural inheritor of his father's fatherness. He had the backing of Whitebeard, whose goals were suspected to be geared towards making Ace the next Pirate King.
Yes.
I say suspected because it gets thrown around a lot as accepted fact that this was Whitebeard's goal, but it was actually just Sengoku's assumption. And I think it's a pretty solid assumption, but in the end, Ace was a highly flawed candidate. Forgetting all of the logistics of poneglyphs and stuff, the last thing he would have wanted would be to follow in his father's footsteps. But the final character who could have become...
Right, who is this? Who else?
Someone who was very close to Ace's heart. And that someone is...
Mako?
Sakazuki. Get it? Because close to the heart because of the fist through the
Oh.
But I am 100% serious here. Of every character we've mentioned so far, Sakazuki is the only one who has the backing of Oda himself. This comes from an interview conducted in 2014 when Oda was discussing what it takes to make a good protagonist. And one thing the author extraordinaire cited was to not make them too strong. It's important that we see them struggle, grow, and evolve so that we can empathize with them because we ourselves are weak little humanlings. I mean, look, Oda didn't say that in the last part specifically, that's more of my own personal inference. But here is where it gets interesting. That's right, like 10 minutes into the video, this is the interesting part.
Okay.
To emphasize this point, Oda chose of all people Sakazuki, and he said, for example, if Sakazuki became the protagonist, he would be so strong that he would put an end to One Piece within a single year. And I really don't know how much clearer we can be.
Wow.
If Sakazuki, against all odds and against established characterization, wanted to become the Pirate King,
he could
get it done.
Right.
You don't even need to have the boring logistical discussion about poneglyphs, military might, or anything, because Oda has said that it would just happen. Pirate King Sakazuki.
Wow.
What an awfully terrifying reality.
Yeah, that's weird.
But to cleanse your mind brain, here is another video. It's good, like most of them I hope, and I look forward to seeing you there.
Interesting. That was, like, wow. Ace was of an honourable mention, which I get, like him being the son of Goldie Roger, the inheritance and all that stuff. Yeah, cool. Shanks, totally on board with. Big Mom and Kaido, I totally agree with him saying that, like, them as a collective, yes. Because they proved it, that, like, they joined up at the wrong time. They really did. They joined up at the wrong time. But, yeah, that was a interesting list. I could not... Yeah, top of my head, I was just like, what? But yeah, made sense. Loving these Grand Line review videos. I want to check out his Zoro versus Sanji one that he uploaded just before, so that might be tomorrow's video, but until then, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link is in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month for all your help support the channel, it's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that, and thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys, all you guys, next time.